The UDRcast is not affiliated and does not represent any 12-step fellowship. I, Bill Ward, the host of the UDRcast, will be sharing my experience and my journey of recovery. That does include, but is not limited to, the literature contained in the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 Steps. Our guests will be sharing their own path to recovery and what has worked for them. The UDRcast encourages and supports all paths to recovery. Welcome everybody to the UDRcast. UDR stands for Uncover, Discover, and Recover. My name is Bill Ward, and I'm coming to you from the recovery capital of Canada, Calgary, Alberta. Here we are going to discuss everything recovery, different perspectives, different experiences, both with the people I know and with others from around the world. If you resonate with anything you've heard on this episode today, we ask that you share it with anyone who you think may benefit from it. If you have any questions or comments, please find us at BILLWARDLIFE and send us a message in the info section. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. If you are interested in more recovery content, you can find the buttons for the YouTube channel and other social media outlets on the homepage, and you will be redirected to those platforms. We can recover, one person, one family, one community at a time. Okay, so we're on step 5 tonight. We just finished off, I think, like 4 weeks of step 4, maybe even 5 weeks of step 4. We were on there for a long time. But it's an important step, right? Like, we're not going to stay sober unless we remove the stuff that blocks us, right? And what are the kinds of things that blocks us? Well, the book tells me in the step 4 that we considered the common manifestations of self. And that's the first layer of the shit that we need to remove. Resentments, fear, and relationship conduct. If we don't look at fucking resentments, fear, which drives our life, and relationships in our life, to even fucking start staying sober is fucking a joke, right? And we talk about like the program of recovery. If you want what we have and you're willing to go any length to get it, then you're ready to follow directions, right? Following our own direction gets us drunk. Following the big book direction gets us fucking sober. And the sobriety is like the bare minimum, right? But we have to do the step 4 even to have a fucking chance. But the thing about step 4 and step 5 is most people don't ever fucking do it, right? Most people will not do a 4 and a 5 because they're too afraid or they are not willing to put in the work. And yes, it is hard work. No one said recovery was easy, right? But if you want a good life, then you got to do what's fucking hard. The thing is that people think that doing this hard work is hard, but it's actually the easier, softer way. By not doing this work, the fucking pain that you endure over years and years and years of fucking not doing anything about it, that's pain, man. And there's pain either way. There's two ways there's going to be pain. Either you fucking have the unremitting suffering pain of not doing anything about changing yourself and taking responsibility for your illness. And the other pain is you grow and you learn and you fucking build fortitude and strength. And we don't do this alone because none of this is done without fucking God. Because this is a God program. It's a creator program. And that's the thing that we need to keep us sober, right? If we're not fucking working with Creator, like seriously, we will not fucking stay sober. No matter how many sweats you've been to, no matter how many times you fucking prayed to Creator, no matter how many times you fucking read the Bible, that shit has no fucking bearing on us staying sober. Because that's a theoretical God. That's a conceptual God. That conceptual God is not fucking gonna work. And I've seen it time and time again. And people will come here and fucking they'll just pray and they'll fucking say these prayers with emotional fucking please God, please help me. It's from self. That's from fucking self. I'm just going to read something out of step 2 that is really important. Okay? You don't have it. It's in 12 and 12. To clergymen, doctors, friends, and families, the alcoholic who means well and tries hard is a heartbreaking riddle. It's on page 32 on the 12 and 12. So this is the clergymen, religious people, doctors, friends, families, and the alcoholic who means well and tries hard is a heartbreaking riddle. And we all know those guys, right? Someone who's fucking keeps on fucking drinking and drinking and drinking and they don't really get it, right? There are too many of us who've been just like him. We have found the riddle's answer. Well, the riddle doesn't have an answer, right? So Bill W. is writing here that says, we found the riddle's answer to those people that can't stay sober. This answer has to do with the quality of faith rather than its quantity. That's the fucking truth. This has been our blind spot. Why is it the blind spot? Because it doesn't matter what you think about God. Using the practical application of this program and bringing God into your life, that's where the quality of faith comes. It doesn't matter how many prayers you say, how many meditations you do. If you're not turning your will and your life over, it doesn't fucking mean anything. It doesn't work. Your intentions are good, but it's not enough, right? That's the blind spot. And what's a blind spot? It's the spot you can't fucking see. You don't even notice, right? When we're driving and there's that blind spot and then we head over into the other lane and buddy's like, honk, honk. It's like, that's the spot. We can't see it. We don't even notice it. That's the spot we got to find. Where is the blind spot? So we supposed we had humility when we really hadn't. We supposed we'd been serious about religious practices when upon honest appraisal, we found we'd only been superficial. That one's important, right? We thought that we'd been serious about religious practices. But upon honest appraisal, rigorous honesty, let's look at my religious practices. We found that we'd only been superficial. Or going to the other extreme, we had wallowed in emotionalism. And we had mistaken it for true religious feeling. And that's what I'm saying about people that are like, God, please help me. I'm begging you. I pray, I pray. That's wallowing in selfish emotionalism. Mistaking it because the ego is fucking actually doing that. And we mistake it for a true religious feeling. But it's fucking not. In both cases, we had been asking something for nothing. The fact was we hadn't really cleaned house so that the grace of God could enter and expel the obsession. So if we don't clean house, which is step 4 and 5, to expel the obsession initially, because that's all that it does. So when I work with somebody and they're like a really serious alcoholic who as soon as they put it in their body, they're fucking gone. And like getting better at this as you sponsor over years, you can assess these people better and know what to give them right away, right? So something really important that I've learned along the way is trying to get somebody from step 0 to step 5, like seriously quickly. Because once you get the step 5 done, you got some breathing room. You got some space where they can fucking breathe a little bit and you as a sponsor can breathe. Because if they drink in that period, they're gone for another spree. And they're not coming back, right? So the fact that we hadn't really cleaned house so that the grace of God could enter and expel the obsession. We have to clean house. And remember, cleaning house in your very first 4 and 5 is you're just cleaning away the top layer of shit. Just enough to fucking give you that breathing room of space to stay sober. And that's just it. So working the set of steps at the beginning, that first set of steps it's great because it starts, but it can end there. But so many people will just do one set of steps and then fucking they think they're pretty good, but fucking little do they know they've barely begun. Because doing your first set of steps, you barely even tap into self. Who's done their first set of steps only here? Vernon? Chandra? How much have you been learning about self recently?
A lot. I've learned a lot. I also listen to your podcast so much, like almost every single day. And especially Wednesdays and Saturdays, I notice that I need them after my visit with my visits with my kids. So
Okay.
I jump into that right
So
away.
how are you getting at identifying self?
When myself crops up, it doesn't happen so easily. I have to talk to somebody first before I notice.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's my point, okay? You got coming up on a year soon,
Yeah.
right?
8 months.
So 8 months coming up on a year, and she can't always see it, right? Because when you're stuck in self and you haven't fucking worked the program, you don't have a fucking real clue of where it is. Because it's cunning. When it says cunning, baffling, and powerful and how it works, it's not the fucking alcohol that's cunning, baffling, and powerful. It's your fucking illness that exists in your fucking mind. That consists of rationalizing and justifying whatever the thought is, whatever your behavior is, whatever you think is right. That's what the fucking illness is, right? So, back to the point, it takes a while to figure out self. So that first set of steps, you're just fucking barely scratching the surface. The thing that I do is when I work with a sponsee, I'll get them 12 steps and then I let them live life for, let's say it takes 4 or 5 months to get a new guy through the steps. Let's say 6 months, 5 months, 6 months, because I'm a little slower sometimes because usually I'm not dealing with like desperate alcoholics. But anyway, you let them have the time after that first set of steps. And I'm like, okay, now go live. But what they have to do in order for this to work properly is they have to follow the step 10, 11, and 12 process, especially the step 10. Because step 10 talks about continuing to watch for selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear. Right? The things that we learned in the step 4, in the 4th column, in the sex conduct. And you'll have to watch for this shit. And then when it crops up, it says we ask God at once to remove it. And then it says we talk to somebody immediately. That talking to somebody immediately is fucking massively important. So when they're out there doing their thing and they're running into this step 10 issue, they fucking make the step 10 call and they give me a call. And I can do something at that point. I can identify self for them. Because they're not able to do it because they rationalize and justify shit and they don't fucking see it because they're still living their life with the best of intentions. But underneath the intention is fucking motive. And if you don't see the motive, you will fucking step on the toes of your fellows and they'll retaliate. So you'll do this over and over and over and over, and then you're accumulating more shit back on top of the God inside you that you tried to clear away. And then you start managing your life. You start trying to figure it out. And then what happens when we run our own fucking lives? And we're fucking drunk again. So it's important to fucking learn about self, which won't fucking come in the first year. And if, like, even in the second and third year, you got to seriously be working a real program to fucking begin this journey. If you're not looking for self in your fucking life, you won't see it and you'll be on a fucking long, fucking lonely road. So digging in, like I was telling Thomas before and today, digging into this shit, like your life depends on it for the first year or 2 or 3 years. You groove this shit in your life, it becomes a way of life, and you never fucking drink again. But if you fucking put it to the wayside and try to just bring it in when you think you need it, you'll be fucking drunk again. That's how it fucking goes, sorry to say. But as you start learning about self, working with your pillars, because if you're doing your step 10 calls, they can help you. And I'll talk way more about that as we go through this. I'm not talking about this by mistake because step 5, we all think of step 5 is doing a set of steps and then go and listening or fucking talking out of step 5. That's what everyone thinks step 5 really is. Well, what is a step 5 today? Step 5 for me today is picking up this fucking phone when I'm restless, irritable, discontent, when I'm in selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear, when I'm acting angry, when I'm acting lonely, when I'm in morbid reflection, when I'm in judgmentalism, when I'm in something that's off the beam, where I'm in ego. I have to pick up the phone today. That's what step 5 is today. And if I don't do that today, Then I'll fucking accumulate all the fucking rubbish and garbage, and I'll cover up God again. And then I'm running the show, and then I'm drunk again. And you'll notice the people that do work with their phone and they do reach out and they do fucking hold themselves accountable, they have really good fucking sobriety. The ones who don't fucking reach out, the ones that don't fucking hold themselves accountable, the ones that don't want to be called out on their shit, they fucking struggle. And you can hear them at the podium in the meetings. Oh, my life is fucking fucked again, and fucking I'm running into troubles with this person and that person, and fuck my job, and fuck this. And like, it's just like, fuck, it doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't have to fucking be like that. But pride is so fucking thick that we fucking don't want to do it. People don't want to do it because they get a perverse comfort out of that fucking morbid reflection. A lot of people actually feel comfortable in that gross fucking spot, and it's like home. But when you fucking ask somebody about that, they'll say no. Fuck, why would I want to live in self-pity? Why would I want to live in morbid reflection? You think I fucking like that? Well, when you fucking sponsor enough people and you get to know enough alcoholics, yeah, I fucking do think you fucking like it. You just don't fucking know it. Until you get honest, and then they see it, and it's like, fuck, I do like that. It's gross, but we do, right? The book talks about that. Perverse soul sickness, where we wallow in this messy bog, often getting a mishap and a painful pleasure out of it. And then it says, as we sink to these new lows, nothing but oblivion looks possible. And then it takes us to extinction, which means, let's pray to misery and depression. Yes, Chandra?
What did you call it, Bill? Perverse what?
Perverse soul sickness.
Is this in the book?
Yes, it's on page 45 in the 12 and 12, not in the big book. It says, this is what it says. If temperamentally we are on the depressive side, we're apt to be swamped with guilt and self-loathing. If you suffer from guilt and self-loathing, listen up. We wallow in this messy bog, often getting a mishap and a painful pleasure out of it, as we morbidly pursue. We're going for it. This melancholy activity, we may sink to such a point of despair that nothing but oblivion looks possible. And we know this in our subconscious, and that's our fucking excuse to get fucking loaded again. Here, of course, we have lost all perspective and therefore all genuine humility. There is no fucking humility in that. For this is pride in reverse. I was talking with Jamie earlier today about pride. We all think that pride means like egocentric, grandiose, fucking look at me, blah, blah, blah. Look at my hat, right? That kind of pride. No. Pride and ego actually can be the reverse. And that's what this is saying. Pride in reverse. The ego is anything that absolves God from the situation. That's why I keep saying in these studies, edging God out. Edging love out. If love's not involved, it's in the ego. And if it's in the ego, it's based in fear. It's based in your insecurities. It's based in self-seeking. It's based in validation. It's based in something that needs to be fixed. But we don't really know that because the whole world is living like that. And most times when we go to get like sympathy, we want the person on the other end to fucking co-sign our shit. Oh, it's okay. Don't worry. Things are going to get better. But you know what the real deal is it ain't going to get fucking better. It ain't going to get better. Because when you coddle the fucking same shit that's fucking killing them, it doesn't get better. So you guys know me a little bit, right? I don't really do much of that. But I am really good at balancing that as a sponsor. And I know when to give love and I know when to... And even when I'm being hard, it's fucking out of love anyway still. But when you work... What they really want is what I'm doing, right? The spirit wants that change. So it works well. But our society has actually been trained to fucking coddle you and make it okay. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. But it's never going to be okay like that. You got to fucking change, man. And if you're not told the truth, then you ain't going to fucking change. Right? So, for this is pride in reverse. This is not a moral inventory at all. It is the very process by which the depressive has so often been led to the bottle and extinction. So way back in the We Agnostics, it talks about the step 0 promises on page 52 in the Big Book. We were prey to misery and depression. And I discussed that prey, the word prey, it's spelled P-R-E-Y, like a bird of prey. And prey means an animal that hunts and stalks another to kill and eat. That's what misery and depression does. It stalks you and it wants to fucking kill you and eat you. So we got to be aware of like that step 10 and go, I'm falling into morbid reflection. I'm falling into self-pity. I'm falling into something. Whatever the spin cycle of self is, because it will catch you and it will spin you. And it'll spin you down the rabbit hole to this place, what I just read. So if you're aware, and nothing happens without awareness, and if you don't do the step 4 and 5, you ain't fucking aware. So if with awareness, you can catch it and go, fuck, this is it. What do? I ask Creator to remove it at once. I talk to somebody immediately. I make amends quickly if I have harmed anybody, and then I resolutely turn my thoughts to someone I can help. But for today, that talking to somebody immediately is what we're talking about. Because when somebody calls me, I can show them something. As long as they're honest and telling me the fucking truth. Because if they're not honest and telling me the truth, then nothing changes. Because they're not giving me all the data that I need to help them grow and learn. If they're worried about how they look to me and they only give me like half the story of what the real situation was, I can only base my delivery on the solution based on half of what they're telling me because they're not honest with me. Because they're afraid of how they're going to look. Remember when Chandra told us, about stealing the lipstick from Shoppers Drug Mart?
I think I just told you that.
Yeah, but you said it at a meeting or something, right? So
Thank you guys.
but no, this is like a great thing,
Yeah.
Like she got me outside and said, this is what I did the other day. And she's like, I feel bad. What should I do? And I said, fucking take it back and tell the manager to come. And if you got to go to jail, you go to jail. And she didn't want to fucking hear that.
Nope.
But this program's based in fucking humility. If you don't fucking suffer the pains of what your actions fucking create, you won't fucking change. You try to run and hide that shit, that dishonesty bleeds back into the drink and you're fucking drunk. So she knows her life's on the fucking line. And she came to her first pillar, and then I was brought in as a second pillar. We both agreed on the same solution. So the next day, she's like, I'm doing it. I just prayed. And then she went and fucking did it. Oh. And she was willing to fucking go to jail if it needed to happen. Really? That's the kind of fucking willingness you need, right? Yep. And then it all worked out way better than she thought. She learned a fucking lesson, and she won't fucking do it again.
I won't fucking do it again. Fuck that shit.
And she can use that experience now to help others and to help her in other areas of her life. And to know that honesty is actually what fucking perpetuates the growth in our lives. So that's important. But that pride that she had to swallow to fucking bring it up and then swallow more pride to go do that, it's fucking, what do we talk about? Humiliating. Mm-hmm. Humiliating humility. The fucking pain of humility, but for one reason, a desire to seek and do God's will, because she wants to fucking live and be the best version. So all humility levels were in there, and she's a better woman today because of it.
I actually still have the receipt for that, because look at this. This is the receipt.
Right on.
The day, because I'm gonna make a scrapbook of all my steps and how I've done this shit.
Oh my God.
This is the receipt from Shoppers Drug Mart, you guys.
In the step 7 and the 12 and 12, it talks about to be willing to work for humility, takes most of us a long fucking time. That's working for humility is something to be desired. And it doesn't have to take a long time. It can take a short time. If you're digging in and you're really willing to fucking put your best foot forward and fucking turn it over, man. But if she would have went the other way and not drank, fuck, it's a long fucking road around, man. It's like fucking wanting to go to Edmonton, but heading to Vancouver first, right? Trying to get to Edmonton, going to Vancouver first. Like, is that not fucking retarded? Well, some people do that shit, right? Right? So I'm just going to finish off the step 2 reading here. Okay, in both cases, we'd been asking something for nothing. The fact was we hadn't really cleaned house so the grace of God could enter and expel the obsession. In no deeper, meaningful sense had we ever taken stock of ourselves. That's key. In no deeper, meaningful sense had we ever taken stock of ourselves. Looked at ourselves. What am I? Who am I? What am I doing? What and who am I really? Not who I fucking hope to be or want to be. Because my mind always told me this version of myself that I never was, but I thought I was and I tried to be, but it was a fucking illusion because once it was on paper, I got to see the truth. Made amends for those who we had harmed, or freely given to any other human being without demand for reward. You can ask many people if they give to other human beings without demand for reward. Most don't. They at least want a fucking pat on the back. Most people will not give freely without wanting at least something. Oh, I gave this guy something. Oh, thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you. Fuck, I got my pat on the back. Right? Or they go and do something for somebody but nobody notices, but they have to tell people, fuck, you know what I did for those people? Right? Like nobody does that, right? Or whatever it is. It can be many different things, but it's very fucking rare. That is like, we're working towards altruism, unselfishly devoting ourselves, like where that doesn't matter anymore. You just do it because it's the right thing to do. That's kind of the goal we're shooting for. And making amends. To those we had harmed. Most people make amends to absolve themselves of the guilt. Like anyone who's here who's not done the steps, or before you did the steps and you went and fucking said, I'm sorry. You were doing it, yeah, partly because you're sorry, but the fucking guilt that is eating you up, you want gone. So you're going to go and say, I'm fucking sorry, I'm fucking sorry. And you get a little bit of relief out of that, but it never fucking does the trick. It's not enough. Because that guilt that you have, it actually hardens into shame. And then the shame is what fucking will keep you fucking sick. This program is actually a shame like dissolver. It dissolves shame over practicing of the program. Because shame is pretty much at the root of all of it. But if you don't do the program, it doesn't fucking work. Or if you do parts you want to do, it doesn't work. If you don't help others, it doesn't work. If you don't do inventories, it doesn't work. Like there's a number of things that you have to do, or it doesn't work. If you're not held accountable, it doesn't fucking work. You might stay sober, and if that's all you want, fuck, good on you. That's okay. But there's so much more to this than just staying sober. So back to the step 5 in the big book. Okay, let's read.
Out of the big book?
Yeah.
Oh,
Chapter 6, into action, step 5. Having made our personal inventory, we just did a step 4, written out. What shall we do about it? Thank you for tuning in to the UDRcast. We hope you have enjoyed this episode. The viewpoints and the opinions expressed today were solely of the individual sharing them. If you resonated with this episode, please follow us and share this link with anyone that may benefit from it. Please visit us at BILLWARDLIFE to see everything that we have going on. We can recover, one person, one family, one community at a time.